what is the first thing you need to do when you want to lose weight? Some people will think it is to get rid of all the junk food they have in their cupboards, or to finish up the treats they have at home before they can start their diet. Other people will clear their diaries to make sure they have no social engagements or eating outside of the house for 21 days or 30 days, or whatever the duration of the diet will be. And if that is how long you are going to be on the diet, then it seems to be a good place to start. But let's assume you have lost half a stone or 10 pounds that you wanted to lose. And what then? If you go back to eating as you ate before the diet, you will slowly start to regain the weight you have lost. Or will you stick with the eating plan that is on the diet? Many diets are too restrictive for this to be realistic. And also, they don't help you with deciding how you are going to deal with eating at someone else's house when you're away from home or on holiday. Will you be able to carry on eating like this, or will you gradually return to your normal eating patterns together with the weight gain that creates? This is why I support a different programme. The advantages are that it is sustainable. It doesn't focus on deprivation and willpower, and the weight you lose will stay off for good. Now, the disadvantages, of course, there are always those. It is slow. You only need to lose 1 or 2 pounds a week, but this is for a very important reason. When you lose weight quickly, the majority of this weight will be water, which is released when the glycogen is used up in your liver. So when you stand on the scales, the numbers will look good, and you may be less bloated, but it isn't fat that you've lost. As the glycogen supplies rebuild, so will the water retention, which is bad news for the number on the scales again. And I read a brilliant book by Dr. Andrew Jenkinson who talks about this aspect of weight loss as the weight set point. So put simply, your body has a weight which it feels comfortable at. And so when you go on a restrictive diet, it will do all it can to make you regain the weight. Your body sees the diet as a famine and goes into disaster mode. Your levels of ghrelin, the hunger hormone, increase to try and make you eat more. You will feel tired, so you want to rest more and not use up calories. And the kicker is that to prevent you from trying to lose more weight again in the future, your body will increase its weight set point so that you can withstand a future famine. And this explains the phenomenon experienced by many that you go on a diet, lose weight, put the weight back on, plus more, so that each time you try to diet, you are starting from a heavier weight than the time before. And his book explains this concept really clearly in a lot more detail, and I would recommend reading it if this is something you have experienced in your dieting history. The second drawback is that the main focus is on your thoughts about food rather than just food itself. If you can learn to avoid emotional eating, then you are cutting out a lot of unnecessary calories. What do I mean by emotional eating? I mean eating when you are tired, bored, stressed, anxious, feeling overwhelmed, any time you eat other than as fuel or nourishment for your body. And this is where coaching comes into play. I can't stop you from having those feelings. They are part of normal life, and the purpose of coaching isn't to prevent you from ever having negative feelings. More, it is about learning to deal with those feelings without eating, without turning to food, and to accept that half of the time you will have negative feelings. The other half of the time you will have positive feelings, but you can't have one without the other. You only get to experience positive feelings because you have the negative ones. So, in my opinion, what is the first thing you need to do when you want to lose weight? You need to get excited about it, Consider it to be the journey of a lifetime. What can you learn about yourself while you are losing weight? What can you tolerate that you didn't think you could before? Can you learn to deal with feeling bored or stressed without eating? What will you learn to feel? What new things will you try out? New foods, new menus, new combinations, new forms of exercise maybe, new ways to get activity into your day which you didn't do before. So, will you make sure you spend an hour walking with a friend each week to catch up rather than sitting and drinking? Will you like your new way of living more? Will you have more respect for yourself, more self-love? Take care of yourself more when you are not beating yourself up about the poor food choices you have made. The more you can plan out the changes you will make and get excited about those, the easier the journey will be. I have a little story to tell you. It's not related to weight loss, but I think it explains even more clearly what I mean about the journey. So when I was 20, I went travelling with a friend of mine from university. In the middle of our travels, we were in Asia and we decided to make a trek up the side of a volcano. We joined an organised trek and we'd set off at something like 4 in the morning so that we could reach the top of this volcano at daybreak, and the views were going to be amazing. So when it came to the morning of the climb, we got up really early and it was cold, really cold because the sun wasn't up yet. And we were travelling in Asia, so we didn't have any warm clothes with us. So I was grumpy already. I was tired, cold, and this climb was hard work. The friend I was with was annoying me because he couldn't see what there was to be grumpy about. So I hung back from him and ended up climbing up with another lady who had done a fair amount of travelling in Asia already. I was moaning away to her about how long this climb was and how tired I was and how irritating my travel companion was, and she was very sweet because she let me grumble on, but she just didn't seem bothered about it being dark, cold, early in the morning and hard work. And she just told me that to travel in Asia, I needed to enjoy the journey. I don't think at that point I really took on board what she was telling me, but after that trip, when we were on our way down, I really thought about what she had said. By then, we had reached the top and experienced the sunrise, and it was an absolutely amazing sight. You could see for miles, and it made the climb up completely worthwhile. But now we had to head back down again, and what was going to be my reward for doing that? If I couldn't enjoy the time during the journey, I was going to be spending much of the time when I was away on a trip of a lifetime completely miserable. There was always something to think about on the journey which could change my mood, or someone to meet and talk to if there wasn't a view to look at. It was up to me to make the most of my journey and not to just wallow in how miserable I was. And that message really stuck with me through the rest of the trip and the 3-day-long train trips or long waits in the middle of nowhere where the bus we were on had broken down. And I try to still keep that message with me now, and it really applies to weight loss. If you are of the mindset that losing weight is going to be dull and difficult and about deprivation and starving yourself, then it's really worth trying to change this perception. It's going to take time until you see the benefit, and the scales might not move much at the start. But if you can enjoy the journey, it can make the whole experience seem so much quicker and far more pleasurable. So that's all I have for you today. It's a shorter one, but such an important message. Weight loss, the journey of a lifetime. Try it out and let me know how you get on with it.